How often do you think about music?
The amount of times per day I think about music and making tracks is just, it's ridiculous. Like it's not always in a good way, I suppose. You know, there are some times where I spend, you know, the whole day just sitting there being like, man, why everyone's tunes are better than mine, and everyone's bass is heavier, and but you know, like most of it is just I'll be in class, I'll be lying in bed and just ticking in the back of my head. I'll just hear like, and I'll be like, oh, you know, that sounds kind of cool. Like maybe I'll just be like over the top, and then you know, and then I get home and I'm like, yeah, I've got all these mad ideas that I've been thinking of all day, and I'll put them in my computer, and it just turns out totally differently. So, but yeah, I think about it a lot. But I suppose the things that are really needed for a good psytrance track is absolutely banging bass line, because bass is a huge part of it. And that doesn't just mean it has to be cool notes, it has to be well produced, it has to sound big, it has to be chunky, it has to hit you in the chest when you're on the dance floor. It has to be like dugga 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 dugga, you know, dugga 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 dugga, you know, really get into it, really get into it. Another super important thing is the rhythm, the percussion. I mean, psytrance is all about pretty much rhythmic grooves building on top of each other and stuff, so unless you have a really sort of good rhythmic groove to your track, then people aren't going to get into it, and it's not going to have that power and that energy and stuff that you need to sort of keep that whole roll sort of going and just build it up and up and up. Sound design is really important in psytrance, just because, you know, there aren't any instruments and a lot of tracks, I suppose, it is just kick, bass, and then some sort of just trippy stuff over the top. So you really need to make sure that the sounds that you have in there are, you know, really interesting, complex, and nice sounding sounds. Otherwise, I don't know, people just get bored and yeah.
Mostly a genre called drum and bass, which is as if you were to call it like the umbrella of that genre, would be drum and bass, but there are so many subgenres that fall underneath that I'm also interested in, but to generalize it, drum and bass. I sit down and actually write music as often as I can, so it's usually maybe 3 to 4 to 5 times a week, sometimes every single day of the week if time permits it. Like a lot of drum and bass is influenced by hip hop, and I'd maybe say that vice versa as well. Soul and funk and hip hop and so many elements of other genres can be incorporated into this genre. It's so diverse. That's why I like it.
I never really started, I never really had a starting point to music. I don't know. I was always told by my mum that I was played Jimi Hendrix through my mum's womb by my dad. So that might have had an influence on me or something like that, you know, music and like Jimi Hendrix and Bob Marley was always played by my dad to me, and Bad Company and stuff, so. Probably a mixture between electronica and organic post-rock, I suppose. If you've ever listened to anything that's at like a beach anywhere and it's like really nice deep house or like really nice vibes, chill music, like Saint Germain or something like that. I try to blend that. Isn't amplification electronic music? So if electric guitar is amplified, that's electric now. So just because it's synthesized doesn't make it different. I don't know. So I'd say that electronic music has been around since ages. So as a genre, I think it's the most powerful thing to happen to pop music. I think I would like it to go not to the mainstream, not mainstream. I would like it to be successful. I'd like to be able to live off it, but I wouldn't want it to be over the top mainstream. A lot. Basically, there are a lot. Like, you can go from deep house to big house to clubhouse to room house to any form of house. Like, and then you go to chill and then sub chill and then I just there are so many that are just because everyone's style changes so much that it will continue to grow and grow. Like dubstep, dark wave, shoegaze, everything, like new wave, old wave, like it will continue to grow, and it always will. Like neo psychedelia electronica, you know, that's like MGMT's kind of sound. Like that's it. That when it first came out, that was, you know, it was unique, and now so many people are doing it, like Foster the People and shit like that. But that was their niche, you know. So it will always, and then some things will come off that, you know, neo psychedelia, pop electronica, you know, neo psychedelia rock electronica. It will just change. A lot as well. There's heaps, basically. A lot.
I started trying making music about 3 years ago, but from 1 year ago, things started getting a bit more serious, and you know, noise started becoming sounds, then will eventually become music. You know, I'm still reaching that point of finishing my first tracks and deciding whether the sounds are, you know, ideal and proper for the dance floors. Still not 100% sure where I'm gonna reach with those sounds that I have at the moment. I'm mostly connected to techno and tech house, deep house, and progressive trance and psytrance. But I've been trying to produce for the last 2 years. The statement, I produce music, is a really bold statement. You know, I guess it takes a lot more than just say, oh, I produce music. You know, it's a really complex thing to do, and involves technique and, you know, inspiration and talent. You know, it's complex. It's a long path. It's not only making noises. As a upcoming engineer, I love every single type of music. I guess, you know, the great music is great music, and you know, you can't type or label it. Absolutely. Well, coming from Brazil, which is a country that has got a lot of influence and musical background, and getting to Australia was a bit of a different sort of approach in the beginning. But as you get used to the place and the culture, you start learning the different sorts of musical tastes and, you know, cultural approaches in relation to music, which was really interesting, because when I first got here, I started getting to know the musical genres, and like in electronic music, I started getting to know these different styles, but styles that were same styles that we had in Brazil, but as you change the country and you change the cultural aspect and things like that, the music is gonna change as well. All the time. It's crazy. It's all the time. You get inspiration from every single moment and experience that takes place in your life, no matter how good or bad it might be. It's crazy. Like you be having a bad day and you sit down in the studio and you just, at the moment you press space, everything is just clear and nothing else matters. Really nothing else matters but just the beat you're working on. And ultimately I think this is a really good escape, That's what is one of the things that the music production is for a lot of us, is the escape of the world and the problems and situations. So we just sit there and we'll be trying to make a beat, and all of those worries and everything you have in your head, everything just gonna go. It's crazy because when you play, you always have that feeling that it's always a different experience, and sometimes you have a set in your head, but then when you get to the party and you get to the gig and things are happening and everything is different, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to change the whole thing. And this is where you have to use intuition. You gotta trust your intuition. The realization of getting a message sent and that message is being absorbed by the crowd. This is just like priceless, man. Keeping the love for the music, that's the most important thing. Keeping the love, it's what keeps you, it's what drives you through this whole crazy journey. It's not, you're gonna be starving sometimes, but you're gonna be riding the beat of your dreams, and in the end you're just gonna be loving everything about it.
Good to see you guys. Let's do this interview, because we recorded this at the beginning. You guys just got here. But yeah, see.